Hello guys, my name is Abhishek De. Today we are going to start the new tutorial of the Python based on the looping. In my previous tutorial, I have covered up the if else this particular part. So I'll suggest you to make use this particular tutorial, if else part this particular tutorial before starting present tutorial. So let us flip to our Python window and start the new concept called looping concept of the Python. Now we need to understand what is looping. Today we'll start the looping concept. Now what is looping? See, in the case of if I want to get any kind of data from a matrix, or if I want to get any kind of data from a data table or the database table, I need to use all the time looping. So what is looping? We can say it's a one kind of block of code that will be actually keeps on executed, still the condition holds true. If you have the C programming, if you did C programming or the Java programming, you might have this idea. In order to get the data from the array, we used to work on the loop. So what was the loop? It was a one kind of continuous process. It is a one kind of repetitive process where the condition, still condition holds true. The particular structure is flowing. It is getting executed. So it's a one kind of iterative process in order to get the data from a data source. So now if I want to define the particular loop meticulously, more deeply, what we can get actually in a computer science, loop is a programming structure that repeats a sequence of instruction until the condition is met. Means still the condition gets true, the loop will be moving on. But when the condition gets false, it will be terminated. Now, in the case of Python programming language, we have two type of loops. One is called while loop and second one is called for loop. Guys, you might have the question in mind, like in Java or in the case of C or C++ programming language, we have the do while loop, right? Do while loop is present, yes. But in the case of Python, we have only two type of loops are there. One is called while loop and second one is called for loop. Now, what is the implementation of the while loop? From here, we'll start. See, in the case of like while loop, we have the few things are there, some basic components are there. One is called initialization, second one is called condition, last one is called actually sequence of instructions and increment or decrement operator. So it will be begin from what? It will begin from the initialization. So let us flip to our anaconda spider and let us start doing some programming. We can understand this particular thing practically. So let me write a code here. Suppose I equal to 0. Here I provide some guys a condition I less than 10. Then I can provide print I. Then I have to provide here I equals to I plus 1 and let me execute the code. So here I can get 0 to 9. So what is the reason behind it? What is the mystery behind it? See, here I equal to 0, it is called initialization. Here we are actually doing the initializing the things. After that, what we know, we have the condition. We have what? We have the condition. So here we can put down the condition. So that is basically my condition. Still the condition is true, the loop will be moving on. It will keeps on growing. But when the condition gets false, the loop will be terminated. Means what is the value of the I? 0. 0 less than 10? Yes or no? Yes, definitely 0 is less than 10. So after that it will allow you to get enter inside the loop. Then print 0. After that 0 plus 1. So I becomes what? I becomes 1. Now again it will be moving on to the loop because it's a continuously iterative process, guys. Still the condition holds true, the loop will be flowing. That's it. So 1 less than 10 is possible, very much possible. Again it will get entered in the print statement, it will be executed, 1 will be actually appeared here, and after that what would be happened? 1 plus 1 2, then 2 less than 10, again 2 will be printed, then 2 plus 1 3, then again it will compare the condition, again 3 will be printed, again 3 plus 1 4, and so on. Still it will be going on, still it is reaching on 9. Finally, 9 less than 10. Is it possible? Yes, 9 less than 10. It is correct. It is possible, guys. Then it will print the 9. Then 9 plus 1 what? 9 plus 1 10. Then 10. 10 is less than 10. Definitely, it is possible. 10 cannot be less than 10. 10 and 10 is equal, right? 10 cannot be less than 10. After that, what would be happen? The condition gets true. Not true, it will get actually false. And when the condition gets false, what will be happened? The loop will be terminated. So that is why after the 9, 9 plus 1, 10, 10 cannot be less than 10, automatically the loop will be shuttered. The loop will be terminated. So what we can understand, guys, from here, actually we can understand that we are using the loop. Initially we are providing the initialization component, which is basically I equal to 0. We are just initializing the data points. After that, 0 less than 10, 1 less than 10, 2 less than 10, all the condition gets true. It is holding all the condition true. So till 9, till the 9 data point is reaching, it is continuously flowing. We don't have any kind of problem. But when the 9 plus 1, 10 occurs, that time 10 less than 10, is it possible? No. 10 is equal to 10, guys, so we can't say that 10 less than 10. So automatically what would be happen? It gets false, and when it gets false, the loop will be terminated. So that is basically the basic story of the loop or while loop. But here I have provided what? Here I have provided the increment. Now some of us definitely know C programming language or the Java programming language. They might know this particular thing. If I want to increase the loop by the I plus plus, so it is possible. It is possible in the C programming language, guys, but here it is not possible. C, Java, it is actually used it. It is called increment operator, but here increment operator is not supported, guys. So here it is actually showing you what? It is showing you the invalid syntax or the syntactical error. But if you want to define like this, I plus equal to 1, it is possible, guys. I plus equal to 1, it is possible. It is supported. So that is the basic story of the while loop, syntax of the while loop. Now I want to decrease the data. Suppose here I define, suppose I initialize the data point like I equal to 10. Now next thing I am doing, I am providing while I greater than 0. Let me complete the code, guys, then I'll definitely explain you how the things are working. Print I, then here I defined I minus equal to 1. Now let us execute the code. So if I want to execute this much of code only, now just select the code and press shift enter. Shift enter. Automatically you can see 987654321. The sequence of data is coming. Why it is coming, guys? Because now you need to understand. I equal to what? I equal to 10. Then 10 is greater than 0. Yes, 10 is more than 0. After that 10 will be printed, so we are getting what? We are getting the 10 here. After that 10 minus 1, 9. So 9 greater than 0, guys. Is it possible? Yes, guys, it is very much possible. So 9, then 8, then 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1 is also greater than 0. But after that 1 minus 1 is 0. So 0 cannot be greater than 0, right? 0 cannot be greater than 0. So that time actually the loop gets false, and when the loop gets false, the loop will be terminated. Here we are doing the reversive things. Here we are decreasing the data. So that is basically the basic thing of the while loop. Now, guys, already you have understood the while loop right now. Right now I want to print the particular data point, which is basically the even number and odd number between 1 to 10. I want to print. What I want to print? I want to print the data point, which is basically the, which is basically what? Which is basically the even number and odd number in between 1 to 10. So in order to do this particular thing, what I did here, I define here I equal to 1. So I equal to 1 means we are initializing the thing. Now, guys, you need to understand the small logic. People who came from the C or the Java background, or they have the knowledge of the C or Java, they might know this particular thing. This particular operator is called modulus operator. Now, what do you mean by the modulus operator? This operator is actually working with the remainder. So if I want to divide any kind of data, if I want to divide any kind of data by the 2, if I want to divide any kind of data by the 2, and the remainder is 0, if the remainder is 0, this is basically called what? It is actually called even number. I want to divide a particular data by the 2, remainder is 0, that is basically even number. So modulus operator is always working with the remainder. So here remainder equal to 0. So if the remainder is 0, even. Now if I write here 11 modulus of 2. So what do you mean by the 11 modulus of 2? 11 modulus of 2 is nothing but it is actually checking out. Automatically it is returning the 1. 1 is basically the remainder. So it is basically odd number. So we got two things, even number and odd number. We got. Now same thing, same logic we need to deploy, we need to incorporate in our while loop. See, while loop is used for what? While loop can generate the data. It can generate what? It can generate the particularly data between 1 to 10. It can generate. It will generate the data. Still the condition holds true. But which data point is even number? Which data point is odd number? Who will make you inform? It will be let you inform by the if logic. Now guys, if you don't have the idea of the if logic, please check out my previous tutorial. In the previous tutorial, I have clearly defined what is basically the logical operator if, if and else. So please actually refer this video, check out, then return back here also. Now I want to know what if I modulus 2 equal to 0, definitely if it is returning 0, then that would be the even number. In the else part, that would be the odd number. And here we are actually incrementing the things I equal to I plus 1. So if I modulus 2 equal to 0 means if I am entering suppose 4 here, 4 modulus 2, if I divide the 4 by 2, remainder is 0. So 0 equal to 0, if block will be executed. But if I am writing 5 modulus of 2, so 5 modulus of 2 is what? Remainder 1. So 1 equal to 0 is possible? Impossible. So control will be passed to whom? Control will be passed to the else part, and this part will be executed. And this is for only increment operator. I equal to I plus 1. So let me execute the code, guys. You can easily understand which is even number and odd number. So 1 is odd number, 2 is the even number, 3 is the odd number, 4 is the even number, and so on. So that is basically, guys, what? That is basically our even number and odd number generation. Now guys, if I want to define the Fibonacci series. Now what is Fibonacci series? If you're asking me, sir, what is Fibonacci series? People who came from the C programming or the Java programming background, they might have the idea, but still I am actually referring this particular Fibonacci series that everyone should understand. Now what is Fibonacci series? In the case of Fibonacci series, it's a one kind of mathematical series where the first two number is getting added and the particularly addition total number is actually deployed in the third position. Suppose here I have the 0 and 1, I want to add the 0 and 1, and after that 1 will be actually assigned where? 1 will be assigned here, 0 plus 1 equal to 1, but here 1 will be copied in the third position. Now I want to add this 1 and this particular 1 also. This one will be added, then 1 plus 1, 2 will be coming in the picture. I want to make this number and this number again, then 1 plus 2, then 3 is coming in the picture. Then what would be happened actually? We have the particularly 3 and 2, 3 plus 2 is coming in the picture, 2 and 3 is coming in the picture, then which is 5. So that is our Fibonacci series. Now guys, if I want to mark the Fibonacci series by the Python, how to understand? So let us move on to our like spider window and let me check how to make the things by the Python. So at first I'll execute the code, guys, then I'll let you inform how the things are working. I'll explain you. Suppose here I am entering the number. So I am entering the number, how much I want to enter the number, suppose 6. So initially what you can get 0, 1, then 1 plus 0 plus 1, 1, then 1 plus 1, 2, then 2 plus 1, 3, then 3 plus 2, how much? That is basically 5. So I am entering 6 means I am generating total 6 numbers. But in this particular case, 6 numbers we are generating, but that is based on the Fibonacci series. If I am executing here, suppose I equal to 8, press enter, that would be 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3 plus 5, 8, then 5 plus 8, 30, 5 plus 8, 13, and 13 plus 8, 21, if I want to define, and so on. So now guys, how to make this particular thing? Again, I am executing, guys. Here I am entering here 9. So 9 length data I want to enter. So 0 plus 1, 1, 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3, 3 plus then 3 plus 2, 5, then 5 plus 3, 8, 8 plus 13, 21, and so on. If I want to move on the next order, next data. So how to make the things? I am taking the input here, then I am initializing the first two data point. First two data point means 0 and 1. 0 and 1, this particularly first two data point. So equal to 0 and b equal to 1, guys. You have to initialize it. If you don't initialize, our programming will not understand from where the data will be generated. After that, I want to declare a variable called sum variable, and here I want to total up the data. Now I am using a count equal to 1. So I am initializing the count. Now what is count? You will understand when we will start the looping. Now here I am entering the Fibonacci series end. End means, as because we are providing the end, we are actually getting the data side by side or back to back. Now here what I am defining, while count less than equal to n. So if I am entering count equal to, if I am entering n equal to 9, what is the value of the count? 1. 1 is less than 9, guys, yes or no? Yes, 1 is less than 9. So automatically you are able to enter in the loop. After that, count plus equal to 1 means you are actually increasing your counter. Now counter will become the 2. Now a equal to b means whatever the data point is present in the b, that will be actually copied to the a variable. Now next one, let us move on to the next line. Now b equal to the sum. B equal to the sum means we will add up the data, and after that total data will be stored in the sum. Here we are copying the data. Initially sum equal to 0, so b equal to 0, and after that what would be happened? 0 plus 1, 1. So we are getting the 1. After that, again the loop will be continued, and we are able to get what? We are able to get the entire Fibonacci series. So guys, that is all about our while loop. If you want to note down the code, you just you can actually note down the code also. That is very basic code, guys. That's why I am not giving any kind of GitHub link. But at future, when I'll write the more advanced code, that time I'll provide you the GitHub link also. But now I want that you should execute all your code by in your own hand. That's why I'm not providing any GitHub link right now, because that is a very small code, guys. Believe me. Now I want to provide what? I want to provide the for loop. So what is for loop? You need to understand. See, in the case of Python programming language, for loop is little bit different compared to C or Java. Here the for loop is actually work at what? It's a one kind of, we can say, automatically incremental loop. In the case of for loop, what is for loop basically? In this particular case, that is basically the automatically incrementing loop. Some kind of iterative method is there, and by using the iterative method, it is able to move on. Suppose I am telling you one thing. Suppose here I am writing a particular variable called name, and here name I am defining ABHIACK, my name. After that, what I am writing here, for I in name, I want to print. I want to define what? I want to define I. So guys, let me execute the code. 1 minute. Make it for 1.py. Now execute the code. You can see ABHIACK, all the data is actually getting accessed by what? Getting accessed by the for loop. Because in this particular case, it is working as a one kind of iterative method, guys. And if you are asking me what is called in operator, in is called actually membership operator. By using the in operator and iterative method, the loop will be extracting the data. It is extracting the data from where? It will be extracting the data from the entire Abhishek. Now guys, next one, suppose I want to print some number here. I want to print what? I want to print some number. So in order to print some number, what should I do right now? In this particular case, I should write here for I in range. Now what is range function, guys? Don't worry guys, I'll explain you everything step by step. I am explaining, so don't worry. You'll see a one kind of magic here. One, just I am executing these two lines of code. So select the data and shift enter. So I am getting 0 to 9. What I am getting here, I am getting the 0 to 9, guys. So as because here I am getting the 0 to 9, guys, what would be happened? Actually, we are using the range function. Now what is range function? I just need to define this particular thing in a small note. That's it. I want to define the small note of the range, because range function is important for the for loop. Still now you don't have any idea of the list, tuple, dictionary or the set object. That is why most of the thing we should learn from the range. But when I'll teach you the list object, again I have to repeat the for loop again. But here I am not defining the list object, because I want you to learn step by step. I want you to have the profound knowledge, or you should have the particular knowledge like meticulously. That's why I am not defining, guys. That's why I am going for the step by step approach only. So let me move on to the range function. Range is a predefined function of the Python. Range is a predefined function of what? Of Python. And it is actually returning the range of the data. Suppose here I am defining the 0 to 10. Means 0 is basically the starting data point, 10 is basically our ending data point. But believe me one thing, from the 0 to 10 the data will be generated, a range will be generated, but 10 is not inclusive. 10 is always excluded. We can say up to 10 data will be generated, but 10 is not getting entered. 10 is not getting entered in the range. 10 is always excluded. 10 is not included. So I can say that in the case of range function, what did happen actually, if you want to define range, you have the starting data point is, if the starting data point is 0, ending data point is n, then the data should be from where? The data should be from 0 to n minus 1. The data should be from where? The data should be from 0 to n minus 1. So now n minus 1 is what? 9. N equal to 10. So last data point should be 9. Now guys, I want to increase the gap between the data point. Means here the data point is 0, then 1, then 2 and so on. But what I want to print the data 0, then I want to print 2, then 4, then 6 and so on. I want to print. So that is why, what should I do right now? I should define here for I in range function, and here I should define 0, 10, 2. And in this particular case, I should define what? I should define I. So if I execute the code, guys, what would be happened actually? I should get the data. That is basically the data. I am actually executing this data only. You are getting all the data. Just let me execute this portion of the code. 0, 2, 4, 6 and 8. What I am getting? I am getting the 0, 2, 4, 6 and 8. Why? Because I am getting the third number parameter. In the third number parameter, we are actually increasing the gap. See, here I don't have the third number parameter. So here the default gap is 1. If I execute the code, I get the default gap. But here if I am executing the code, what would be happened? I got 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, because here I am actually providing this gap. So that is basically, guys, what? That is basically the basic story of the for loop, guys. More for loop will come, more story of the for loop will come, guys, because a lot of things are there from the list, dictionary, tuple, set object, all the area. If I want to extract the data, I should use the for loop. That I'll show you when I'll teach you the complex object. So from the next tutorial onwards, actually I plan to show you the complex object like list. So the thing is that from there the things will be started, and I'll teach you that this particular thing. So guys, that is basically our for loop. And also you can do one thing also, guys, that I want to show you this also. For I in range, more things I want to show you. Suppose I provide the 10, then I am providing the 0, and I want 0, then I want to decrease the data. So in order to decrease the data, what you need to do, you need to provide the -1 here, because here opposite thing or the recursive things will be happened, and you are actually providing what? You are providing the I, guys. So just you need to execute this block of the code, 987654321. Now guys, by using this particular thing, you are able to get the data. Now guys, if you want to print here 0, what should be your answer? Here I should print the data till -1. So if you execute the code, guys, you will see what? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. If I want to make it -2, guys, that would be what? Actually -2 gap will come, then 10, 8, 6, these kind of things should come here. So you need to execute the code and you are getting the result. So guys, that is basically all about the for loop. More for loop I will discuss in the time of list object in the next day also. The list object will come. Again, you will see how to extract the data by the for loop. In the industry, more for loop is actually used. So guys, here I am actually winding up the tutorial because the size of the tutorial is getting larger also. From the next tutorial, I am showing you the complex object. It's very important thing, so don't miss it. And if you like this particular tutorial guys, then please do like, subscribe and share my tutorial. It will make me actually more motivate to, in order to get the more video, in order to release the more video also. If you feel that this particular video is little bit worthy for you, please let it share, subscribe my channel, and please click on the like button. Thank you.